Hey guys, Dora here with Biotech. Just wanted to come to you here in January 2018 and wanted to share a message with you in regards to something that I have experienced coming into the new year. Just like everybody else, I had to self-evaluate what happened in 2017, and it was a pretty rough year for me. When I looked back at my goals and objectives and I realized some of the accomplishments I had, which weren't what I was hoping for, I had to go back and look at what went wrong. And through some inspirational messages, especially from one of my favorites, which is Simon Sinek, British author that is very popular. I'm sure you all might have already heard of him. Does a lot of TED Talks. He's written obviously some very successful leadership books and taking action books. In regards to being on YouTube, people are they're becoming more aware of him. He has a message out there, and I'm going to share that message with you today. And that's about, really evaluating yourself. And not a broad spectrum, not trying to be the same as everybody else, not trying to be the same as the competitor, but more about being better you today than you were yesterday. So where I had, for instance, a fitness goal, like many of you are coming into the new year with, I had very high expectations because I was looking at those around me and I saw the end result for many people, and I really didn't have a detailed action plan on how I was going to get to the results I wanted. Instead, I was letting my surroundings, my environment kind of measure my success. And that wasn't good for me. And he says it very clearly, and especially with this clip I'm going to show you, he says it very clearly in the fact that you must really stay away from pushing yourself with your environment and more along evaluating yourself yesterday so that you can be better today. And so I thought that was a deep message, something that definitely has me looking at 2018 completely different. And I wanted to share that with you today. So thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
I spoke at an education summit for Microsoft. I also spoke at an education summit for Apple. At the education summit for Microsoft, I would say that 70% of the executives spent about 70% of their presentations talking about how to beat Apple. At the Apple Education Summit, 100% of the executives spent 100% of their presentations talking about how to help teachers teach and how to help students learn. One is playing this way, and one is playing that way. One is playing finite, and the other one is playing infinite. Guess which one gets frustrated. So at the end of my talk at Microsoft, they gave me a gift. They gave me the new Zune when it was a thing. And let me tell you, this thing was spectacular. It was the most elegant piece of technology I'd ever used. The user interface was incredible. The design was spectacular. I absolutely loved it. It was easy to use, and it was bright and gorgeous and fantastic. It didn't work on iTunes, which is a different problem, so I couldn't use it, but it was amazing. And elegant. My God, it was elegant. So I'm sitting in the back of a taxi with a very senior Apple executive, sort of employee number 12 kind of guy. And, I like to stir pots. So I turned to him, I said, Microsoft gave me their new Zune, and it is so much better than your iPod Touch. And he turned to me and he said, I have no doubt. Conversation over. Because the infinite player understands sometimes you're ahead and sometimes you're behind. Sometimes your product is better and sometimes it's worse. The goal isn't to be the best every day. The goal isn't to outdo your competition every day. That's a finite construction. If I had said to Microsoft, I've got the new iPod Touch and it's so much better than your Zune, they would have said, can we see it? What does it do? React, 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 react. Finite players play to beat the people around them. Infinite players play to be better than themselves. To wake up every single day and say, how can we make our company a better version of itself today than it was yesterday? How can we create a product this week that's better than the product we created last week? We also have to play the infinite game. It's not about being ranked number one. It's not about having more followers on Twitter than your friends. It's not about outdoing anyone. It's about how to outdo yourself. It's not about selling more books or getting more TED views than somebody else. It's about how to make sure that the work that you're producing is better than the work you produced before. You are your competition. And that is what ensures you stay in the game the longest. And that is what ensures you find joy. Because the joy comes not from comparison, but from advancement.